Congratulations.
I'd like to make a motion to pull Resolution 7 out of committee, titled Flood Mitigation Task Force.
Okay, proposed ordinance 7, better response to flooding throughout the city, is how it's listed in committee. It was introduced 3/2/2022 into committee. Is there a second to pull that? Second from Beatrice. Any opposed from pulling that from committee? It's out of committee.
I'd like to make a motion to amend.
Please state your first motion to amend.
Okay, the Flood Mitigation Task Force is created to gather information. I'd like to strike Section A out and replace it with the Flood Mitigation Task Force is created to meet annually to assess and report on citywide flooding events and publicly report ongoing projects as it relates to property.
Before I call for a second on that, are these in writing and presented to the clerk so
Yep,
that we
yep.
can actually?
I got 'em.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Thank you.
Sure, the Flood Mitigation Task Force is created to meet annually to assess and report on citywide flooding events and publicly report ongoing projects as it relates to property.
Is there a second to the amendment?
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Williamson. Your votes on the amendment, please put them on the board, please. The amendment. This is the amendment. These are all amendment votes.
9 yeas to be amended.
Okay, I'd like to make a second amendment to Section B and strike out of work from the title and just put the flood mitigation scope shall include.
Okay, so this is a motion to strike of work from section B, the first sentence. Is there a second? Second from Beatrice. Again, your votes on the amendment. Councilman there we go.
9 yeas to amendment.
Okay, I'd like to make a third amendment to Section C, subsection 1.
Please state your amendment.
Okay, I'd like to make an amendment that it's 7 members, 3 members to be appointed by the Utica Common Council, 4 members to be appointed by the mayor, 1 from the Engineering and Sewer Department, 1 from Public Works, 1 member from the Planning Department, and 1 mayoral designee to report for the administration.
Second on the amendment?
Second.
Okay, we have a second on the amendment from Williamson. Your votes on that amendment, please.
Wait a minute. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do that again. How many, you said 7 members total?
Yep.
3
3 members to be appointed by the Utica Common Council,
and 4 from the
4
administration.
from the administration, and he gets his one appointee that's not in his actual departments.
9 yeas to amend.
Okay, and then the last amendment is Section D. 1 is to meet biannually and within 1 month of a designated flooding event or as needed per the committee.
All right, so question on the amendment. The first amendment was in the
Oh, annually, I'm sorry.
annually.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay.
So say it again.
To meet, we said annually in the original one for it to be designated, but I
Right.
think this specifically relates to as the establishment of the actual
Okay,
committee.
so please read
Okay,
the
so
amendment in
number 1 is
specifics.
meet biannually and within 1 month of a designated flooding event or as needed per the task force.
I'm confused.
So,
Biannually or annually, I'm confused.
but this is an amendment for biannual. So if you'd like this one to be here, I would suggest in the description, even though it wouldn't bind them to
Yeah,
it.
no, I understand.
To re-amend
I
the
understand.
description to
Yeah,
meet
sure.
biannually.
Yeah, sure.
Okay?
Can I ask a question? You have the floor.
Yeah, no, just, how many times do you want it to be a year, Sam?
Well, I think it says biannually and within 1 month of a designated flooding event. It's needed to establish the actual committee.
So you're saying biannually
And.
and
Yeah, and.
or.
So if there's no floods, it would meet twice.
Right.
And if there's a flood, you want it to meet
Within
in
30
1
days.
month of
Within 30
Within 1 month of the flooding event.
Yep.
That makes sense to me. I'm just trying to make this consistent with the first amendment. But it also says meet annually. Just seems inconsistent.
That's what I was addressing. So,
You're saying meet once a year, and then later on you're saying meet twice a year, or extra if we have a big.
Wait, hang on,
flood.
1 second.
so we just got to make them consistent, and then it'll be all
Oh,
right.
okay. So I can make a re-amendment to the first one and do biannually.
Okay.
That was just probably a typo that I didn't realize when I
Okay.
suggested the amendment.
Okay. All right, very good.
Can I suggest
You don't have to vote for it. Okay. So meet biannually
Actually,
and
I'm
within.
going to request the floor for myself.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So, because it does bring up an interesting point.
Sure.
If it did meet annually, okay, for example, maybe before springtime when we have the biggest issues, and then after each flooding event, I do think that would be appropriate because the mandated meeting would be prior to the setup of all the things we normally have to deal with. But you could do what you want with it.
Honestly, okay, I understand that.
So you want to just change
And
the
I
current
understand
one
what
to
you're- I understand that amendment. yes.
Okay, all right.
Because it's still after, so even if you met twice, it doesn't matter because you would still meet. if it
Right,
was an
so
actual
please
flooding event.
restate
Okay.
that amendment where it
So
says
meet
annually.
annually and within 1 month of a designated flooding event or as needed for the task force.
All right. Second?
So that's the one at D1, correct?
Yep, and then 2 is create and maintain a coordination list of persisting of a point of contact from each bordering municipality public works department. And the third one is the Flood Mitigation Task Force shall coordinate with involved municipal contracts for each meeting following a designated flooding event.
All right, here's what I'd like you to do.
Sure.
Let's pass the first amendment
Sure.
to section D, which was
Okay, yep, I could do it, meet
D1.
annually and within 1 month of a designated flooding
All
event.
right, second on that amendment. Okay, Celeste Friend is the second on that. Your votes.
9 yeas to amend.
Please state the amendment for the second piece of this section you're amending.
Okay, so the second part is create and maintain, so we're gonna have to cross out, we're replacing this section with create and maintain a coordination list of persisting of a point of contact from each bordering municipality's public works department.
Okay.
And then you'll still list A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then add H, which is the Sequoia Creek Commission, and I, which is the, what was that last one? The Whitesboro Commission?
It's called the
Oriskany
Watershed.
Watershed Commission. Yep, that was it.
Okay.
They're just adding I and
All right, so
H and I
you're
to that.
striking the description
Yep.
above A through G and
Yep.
replacing it with what you stated,
Yep,
and then adding H and I.
yep,
And
Is there-
H&I is the Sequoia and the Watershed.
Yep.
The watershed.
yep.
Okay. Is there a second? Second from Williamson. Your votes on this amendment.
Nine yeas to amend.
Any more amendments?
Just the last one amendment, I'd like to add section 3, which states that the Flood Mitigation Task Force shall coordinate with involved municipal contacts for each meeting following a designated flooding event.
Could you state that again, please?
Yep, the Flood Mitigation Task Force shall coordinate with involved municipal contacts for each meeting following a designated flooding event.
Okay, is there a second to that? Second from Aiello. Or your votes on the last, or I think the final amendment, I'm not sure.
That is the final
Okay.
amendment.
There's a, okay.
Gotta do it.
Councilperson Fred, do you have a question?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
9 yeas to amend.
All right, are there any other amendments?
Well, I got one more. No, I'm just playing.
Okay, all right, this was pulled from committee, so now that if there's no more amendments or discussion, this is on
I'd
the
like to
floor.
qualify my vote, Mr. President.
Yes.
Well, I understand the theory behind it, and it's a great idea, but our county exec, Anthony Pacini, already put this into action for the whole county. And it would be redundant to have it the same thing here in the city of Utica. So of course we know that the flood waters come from other neighborhood municipalities. And I thank the county exec for putting the flood mitigation force together at that level where all municipalities in the county will be a part of it, even the city of Utica. But at this time, I don't like duplication of services within the city of Utica, even if it includes flooding. So I'm going to be voting against it because it's already implemented with the county.
Okay, anyone else? Your votes?
7 yeas adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else in committee this evening?